Hi, welcome to Rudy's Movie Review, San Antonio's unofficial movie critic, and welcome to episode 6 of Rudy and his super friends, where we talk about films. And ladies and gentlemen, again, by popular demand, I have the one and only Batman of San Antonio.
How's it going, guys?
Mr. Batman, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man, and Happy New Year to all of you.
Absolutely. Happy New Year, guys. Hope 2019 is going to be a great one for you. And we're going to start off this year talking about the most recent entry in the DCU, and that is Aquaman, directed by Mr. James Wan and starring Jason Momoa. So we're going to go into spoiler talks, guys. If you haven't seen it, please don't watch the video yet. But once you do, come back and we'll talk about it again, and you get to hear what our thoughts were in the film. So, Batman. Right. I want to start off the conversation with really the most important question. From 1 to 10, how sexy was Jason Momoa in this film?
Oh, man, he was an 11. He was a wet 11.
Yeah, the dude was charismatic, and he was good looking. I'll give him that. It's funny. I sent out a Facebook post not too long ago when I was watching it at the Draft House. Yeah. I'm like, wow, there's a lot more women here than guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what's good? There's like wine parties going on. I mean, and I go, you know what? Just because he captured the female market, it's going to make over $1 billion.
It's Magic Mike underwater.
It is. That's exactly what it is. And right now it's at, I think, 700 million. It's almost going to hit $1 billion. It is going to hit $1 billion.
Well, what they've been saying was that it was 782 million worldwide. Yeah. But they have, as of Sunday, they haven't updated domestic or overseas markets. So, okay. I mean, it may be at 800 by now. You never know.
Yeah.
And I just saw it again. Like I told you, I took my nephew today. So,
awesome.
You know, add $20 to that. You're welcome.
And I wanted to ask you, so let's go ahead and get started. We did a video of Batman and I not too long ago, back in March or May. Yep. And we talked about the DCU and how they, you know, there's been questions on how they handled the whole uniting the seven and how they went about that. And what are your thoughts overall with this entry into the DCU?
I think they did it right, and here's why. Okay. They let the powers that be stay the hell away from the movie.
I agree.
You know, they gave James Wan complete control, let him build his world, let him start it up, and they really didn't put their hands in, because you know, when there's too many cooks around the pot, man, yes, things fall apart. And this movie, you could tell it had little stamps of James all over. You know, it had the right amount of, you know, action. It was comedy. It was funny. It was a little scary. There were a few jump scares.
Yes, there were. Yeah.
You know, which was good, and it didn't overpower anything. You wouldn't walk away from the movie like it was all funny, or it was all scary, or it was this. It had everything in just perfect balances for me, anyway.
I agree. It really reminded me when I was watching it, and I mentioned this in my video. It reminded me of Wonder Woman, where the creativity and everything was really siloed. Yeah. From, you know, producers or executives, whatever comes about. You knew that the people involved cared about the material, and they had a vision of it, and they executed it to perfection. And what did you rate it overall? You tell your rating, then I'll say mine.
Yeah. For me, I would give it a really strong 8.5 to 9 out of 10.
Bats.
Yeah. Batman. Yeah. I give about 9 bats out of 10.
I gave it, I believe, an 85. I loved it. Now, for my thoughts, if you haven't seen my review, I had a great time watching it. I think they could have shaved about maybe 10, 15 minutes off the film. And I think that would have helped with the pacing. But overall, Jason Momoa, I liked his approach to the character. It looks like he had fun with it. Yeah. He didn't take it too seriously. He just had fun, and I liked that. It was kind of a lighthearted tone compared to the other DCU movies that people have complained about. I don't mind, for the record, that tone, but most of the majority had a problem with that. But I like the approach they had. There was a lot of humor. It was incredibly cheesy, but in a good way. I think that was intentional.
It was a good kind of cheese.
Yeah, I think that was James Wan's and everybody's intent, is to approach it, have fun. And we know when he's introduced, there's a lot of zoom ins of his face, and he's like, permission to come aboard.
Permission to come aboard.
You know, that whole scene. Yeah. It was real cheesy and over the top, but I thought that was intentional, and I loved it.
I think the thing that made this movie so good was the baddies. The bad guys in this were so good. Yes. Mateen, who played Black Manta, I mean, he played it perfectly. So did his dad, the actor that played his dad. And man, how about Patrick Wilson, dude? I mean, he's
always great. I like him.
You know what I like the most about Ocean Master?
Tell me.
Is the fact that his mask went up and down when he was
That's right. Angry. Yeah.
it moved and it did that comic book thing. So there was a lot of comic book nods that I really, as a comic book fan, appreciated.
So let me ask you this: walking into this, what were some of the best surprises? Anything that stood out for you from a visionary standpoint, directing, special effects? Like, what stood out to you? And you've seen it twice.
Yeah.
So what stood out to you?
This is just going to be me, as we all know, and you know, being our official movie critic or unofficial movie critic.
Yes, sir.
We have Mary Poppins Returns out at theaters,
Which I loved.
which you loved. But did you know that the voice of the giant beast at the end is actually Julie Andrews?
No way.
I kid you not.
I did not know that. Really?
Hand to God.
Okay. Well,
Julie Andrews plays the Kraken type beast that determines the worthiness of Arthur at the end.
that is so funny.
It's Julie Andrews.
Now you know. Now for me, watching it again, I've only seen it once, but watching it, I truly appreciate again just the vastness and epicness, if that's a word, of the world that James Wan created, because it did remind me of Avatar, Lord of the Rings, especially at the end. It did have an epicness feel to it, and I admire everybody, not just him, but the cast, the set designers, everybody involved to bring this world to life. You mentioned it right before we hit record that it reminded you of Black Panther, and I agree. You have a hidden world, a beautiful hidden world that's revealed to us, and we're seeing it for the first time as Jason Momoa is watching it. And I got to hand it to him. It's maybe they used James Cameron's Avatar technology. I don't know,
Possibly.
but it did look amazing.
Okay, well, a couple of things again, because I know people behind the scenes and everything. All of the hair that's moving is digital. That's
No way.
They were actually wearing shower caps the entire time is what they were talking about.
I didn't know that.
So all of that hair is digital. Everything was done. There was nothing that was shot underwater. It was all just them on gimbals and just kind of doing this thing. Just
Wow.
to animate it. And if you really listen really, really carefully, you hear the echo of underwater. So it has that reverb sound.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was very minimal stuff that was done underwater.
And that's so cool, because I remember a lot of criticism when Justice League came out last year. One was criticizing the scene where I forgot her name.
Mira.
Mira and Arthur are talking, and they create like a bubble,
The air bubble,
and
yeah.
everyone's like, "What? That doesn't make sense." I had no reference of what was accurate, what was not. I didn't mind it, but a lot of people had a problem with it. So walking into this, I didn't know what they were going to do, but the aquatic sound that they did, I thought was perfect. It wasn't too distracting. It was subtle, and it made sense in that world, and I actually love that.
Yeah, and did you also catch that they did reference the whole Super Friends Aquaman thing where the whoop, 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 whoop.
With his aquatic telepathy, Aquaman summons a school of barracuda to attack Batman and Robin.
Oh, I missed it. No, I didn't.
When he as a kid, when he's at the aquarium, he kind of does his hand to the shark. They show the little ripples through the water. And he also does it when he's talking to that Kraken type beast at the end.
That's right.
So if you really, really listen really hard, you hear that, just the ripples through the water.
That's
so
pretty
it's just
cool.
Another geek moment that I picked up because I have no life beyond comic books.
That's pretty cool. And again, I did love the technology piece. And of course, Amber Heard, my God.
I just died on your arms tonight.
She was amazing in this film. Yes. I didn't think the chemistry, again, this is my first time watching. I didn't think the chemistry was as great as it could have been between them. You seen the second time? What do you think?
You know what? I agree. I think that hopefully it's going to be something that they build upon, because think about it. When we start and we get in there, she's engaged to Orm.
That's right.
You know, so maybe that's kind of almost deliberate. Like she's, I can't do this. I'm already betraying my betrothed enough in Atlantis. So it looked like they kind of warmed up towards the end, but let's hope that chemistry, transcends into the next movie that we see.
And I'm sure there'll be a sequel. I mean, the film, as of this video taping, is almost at $1 billion, 800 million worldwide. So they're going to get to work on that. And that kind of takes me to my next question to you. There's been a lot of tweets and a lot of articles about Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck, whether they're going to be part of the DC universe or not. I don't know if a decision's been made, but what do you think with the success of Aquaman, how this is going to affect the DCU?
Well, I talked about this yesterday on my live thing. I think it's a catch-22. If Aquaman does $1 million, obviously we're going to get or it does $1 billion, obviously we're going to get a part 2.
Right.
But that gives him a really strong footing to say, hey, you know what? I want the Snyder Cut. I know it exists. I want you guys to put it out. So, I mean, if you have an actor like Momoa who is suddenly going to shoot up to A-list, you know, and he's basically got the entire DCEU on his back along with Gal Gadot,
right?
You know, it gives him a lot more leverage to say, you know what? We need to release this. We need the fans to see this. Let them see, you know, what we have. Because again, we wouldn't have Momoa if it wasn't for Zack Snyder.
Right.
You know, we wouldn't have Godot or anybody. So hopefully that does. And then I'm also scared, and you know, you're a movie reviewer, you know, if a movie hits $1 billion, technically it's a success. But then that's going to make all the other DCEU movies that have come before, Man of Steel, Justice League, look even worse.
You're right.
You know, even though it got, you know, 800 and something, you know, million, but it didn't do $1 billion. Right. So it's a really scary thing. And I really do hope that he gets to the $1 billion mark because I want to see the Snyder Cut.
I do
and,
too.
you know, Jason is very, you know, like, I want to see it. And he's not a Hollywood guy, you know, so he curses, he says all the things we can't. You know, we're shackled and he's not. So, I mean, I hope that he does get the $1 billion because I would love to see Cavil come back. I think he's the perfect Superman.
I do too.
For this age.
For this age, yeah. I think this is a great, right now the DCU, what it has now that it has not had in years is momentum.
Yeah.
Aquaman's really steering and bringing a lot of people into this universe. And let's look what's ahead for DC. We have Shazam coming out and Wonder Woman. So we have two films that people are excited about. Wonder Woman has credibility. Everyone cannot wait. That's a guaranteed hit. But Shazam, based on the trailer reactions, people are excited about that as well. So I'm thinking things are going to go in a better route for the DCU. And I'm hoping everything turns out the way the fans really want, because this is just a first step in a better route for the DC.
I think so. I think they've jettisoned the Marvel method. I think they finally found their footing, you know, into doing this. And speaking of Shazam, if my sources are correct, on January 19th, we will be getting a second trailer for Shazam. So hopefully, and we're actually going to see some of the baddies, because Dr. Sivana's got some henchmen, and we might maybe see him actually fight somebody superpowered. So let's hope. And Shazam is the only movie within the contained universe that makes references to other movies.
It does.
As we see, you know, his foster brother has a Batarang. He's wearing a Superman, or he's wearing an Aquaman t-shirt. He's got Superman clippings. So it's a wink and a nod towards its own universe. And hopefully, you know, after the success of, you know, Wonder Woman and now Aquaman, you know, we can, it's pardon the pun, but it's, you know, clear sailing from there on.
Oh. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the things that maybe we were looking forward to and didn't get in Aquaman, and I'll go first.
Okay.
I am a big fan of Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. I think it's an appropriate Superman story for this time. I truly believe that. And I think that, along with Batman vs. Superman, as the years go on, it'll be more appreciated. I truly believe that. But Man of Steel starts off with an epic oil rig explosion.
Yes.
And of course, Superman goes with his beard and saves everybody. And there's a scene where he's floating in the water. And we have two humpback whales go by. And then he shows up on land all of a sudden. I always heard rumors that there was going to be an Aquaman cameo where he's going to go and save Clark Kent and bring him to land. And then that's where he woke up. And I was hoping they would have brought that in Aquaman. And I do know when his brother, Ocean Master, right?
Orm,
he is explaining how the humans have polluted our waters. There's an oil rig explosion that he shows, and I'm wondering if that was it. But that's the one thing I was hoping to see. It's always cool to give a little nod to the other team members of the Justice League, or to link the universe together. But I was hoping to see that, and I didn't get it.
You know what? I was thinking the same thing. I was kind of hoping the Pinocchio scene would come where the whale actually, you know.
Oh, that's right.
We're talking about that, maybe takes him to shore. That was something that I was definitely thinking about. And when I saw, you know, all the wreckage and they were talking about the ocean because it's all in the back, I was thinking, like, was that it? Was that our little Man of Steel wink and nod? So it very well could have been. Something I would have liked to have seen is, you know, we just find Atlanta, you know, up on the shore. And, you know, that's when Arthur's dad finds him. I would have liked to have seen her maybe escape Atlantis.
Yes.
In the beginning.
That would have been cool.
Kind of escape, and then we kind of don't see anything for a little while, and then we cut back to, you know, Arthur's dad, and then boom, she's on the rocks. I would have liked to have seen some of that. Or maybe when they take her to the trench to sacrifice her.
Right.
I just a split second would have just made the movie for me.
There's this one scene where they're fighting in, I believe, a villa. And there's this gentleman who's got a pillar on his legs, and he's screaming for help. And Arthur Curry goes, okay, again, there's a pillar on top of this guy's legs.
You just don't.
And he lifts the pillar. And I'm thinking it's going to be like, oh, they're going to drag him out and carry him out. This guy just got right up and started running.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
he literally, like, he picks up his daughter and starts running with his daughter. And I really thought it was going to be like a call out to when Bruce Wayne picked up Wallace's, you know, when his legs were crushed, because it's a huge stone pillar.
Exactly.
And it's, he walks off, like I said, and there's no even dirt on his legs or knees.
No,
I'm
he
like,
just got up and ran.
Come on, man. I'm like, really?
Now, you brought up a good point on your Twitter feed, and I'll show your Twitter, your tweet right here. But go ahead and tell the folks what you discovered, and it's a valid question, but go ahead. You have the bridge.
So, this has been bugging me since Justice League, and I finally decided that I was going to tweet at James Wan. So we know Aquaman obviously is impervious to heat and cold, as we mentioned before, and the depths of the ocean, his skin is very, very resilient. Obviously, you see Black Manta try to stab him with the sword and it doesn't go through, but he's got tattoos. Aquaman has not just one, not just two, but he's got neck tattoos, arms, back, everything. The guy is all tatted up. How? What needle do we use to give him the shark skin tooth that he's got in all of his tribals? I need to know. And so I actually tweeted at James Wan, and I want to know. And I've also reached out to Zack Snyder, who told me, talk to James. So if you're out there, James, and you're watching Rudy's movie review right now,
Hope he is.
How does he get the tattoos? But I just need to know, is there like an underwater place that gives tattoos? How is this done? It's my question of the day.
Valid question. And we hope we get an answer, James Wan. So guys, we're at the end of the video. We're going to wrap it up. Mr. Batman, any final thoughts on Aquaman? Anything you'd like to tell the people about the film?
Final thoughts. This is great. Please forgive the DCEU for the stumbles, because there have been a few. Aquaman more than makes up for it. It is a great movie. Like I told Rudy, to me, it is a mix of Lord of the Rings, Avatar, and Excalibur. It's got a really good story. Of course, it's got holes in it. Every single movie does, but they are forgivable. The movie is great. It's top notch all the way. Personally, I loved it, and I can't wait to see more.
I really can't either. Again, I recommend this film. It's a lot of fun. If you want to go to the movies and have a good time watching a fun story, an epic story, really, and a great origin story. And that's a lot of things people don't mention. As far as an origins tale, this is probably one of the best as far as a superhero film. It's really in depth. You find out about his family, his mom. It has got some of the best action sequences, really, that are like one shot, which I have to understand how they did that. The camera like swivels 360 around these fight scenes, and it looks flawless, and then it leaves a room and follows Aquaman running on a roof. It's got very original ideas when it comes to action sequences, and again, I had a great time watching it, and I highly recommend it. And for those Marvel fans who really talk bad about DCU, really give this a shot. If you're a comic book fan, go experience this film, and I guarantee you'll enjoy it. And Mr. Batman, thank you so much for coming by.
Of course.
And guys, as always, thank you for watching Rudy's Movie Reviews, San Antonio's unofficial movie critic. Please take care, God bless, and live long and prosper. And we're out. Da-na-na-na.